was that journey and what was that first business that you attempted to start?
In college, I started a couple small businesses. So a lot of people say, oh, I started a business in college, but maybe they just did some freelancing or something. I really wanted to start a business, which to me at the time meant, you have to have an entity. You need a C Corp or an LLC. You need employees. You need payroll. You might need an office. I think I was hung up on the aesthetics of a business or what we think a business entails. Nowadays, people are a little bit smarter at base level of that. They're like, business is just like money's coming in. You could be remote. You don't need employees. Like it's actually almost kind of more cool to say you're solo. But back then I thought like, well, this is what businesses have. Pattern matching. They have these elements. And so in college, I started a couple businesses. One was called Party Pig, and we did hookah catering. So I would buy a bunch of hookahs wholesale. Luckily, there was a hookah wholesaler in Atlanta, like 20 minutes away from where I lived. And I would go buy 80 hookahs. I would maybe sell some on eBay. And then we would go to bars and nightclubs and say, hey, we can cater the hookah like at your Friday and Saturday night events. We'll set up a table. We'll charge, 15 or 20 bucks, and we'll give you 20% of the revenue at the end of the night. And they loved it because it increased the sales of their drinks. Their tables are getting all filled up. It's hands off for them, and they just get, a wad of cash at the end of the night. So we did this for just
what gave you this idea? Like, were you inspired by something, or you saw something, or you just like, this sounds weird and seems like it'll work?
That's a good question. I have no idea, thinking back now, where this hookah, because I didn't smoke any hookah. I was not interested in smoking hookah. It was very much an opportunist, as you'd say now, oh, you look for a gap in the market and fill it. When you're 20, you don't look for gaps in markets and fill it. You don't even know what those words mean. When you're 20, you're like, where's my beer money? And, can I miss my class on Tuesdays if I go Thursdays? So I don't really know where the idea came from. I guess I knew there was a hookah spot on campus that opened up that got really popular, probably around that time. And actually, it's still there today. I walked by it the other day. I visited Atlanta. So maybe that was it, just a small spark of an idea. So I buy all these hookahs. We start catering them. But very quickly, it spiraled out of control because, cash management, you have like metal boxes of money and people that you don't really know that you're trusting to have all the inventory, and keeping inventory of like your coals and the hookah tobacco, and cleaning out the tubes. Like they'd get out of the bar at 3 a.m. and you're going to ask your team to clean out all the tubes and the new spit things. The whole thing was a mess. And then nobody would give us insurance. So bars started saying, we need you to give us your liability policy so that we can continue. And I contacted some insurance companies and I was like, hey, I need this thing called a liability policy. And then when they asked about what we did, they said, yeah, we can't underwrite that. There's too many variables. So it's like we shut down Party Pig. The second business in college was pinback button printing, like what you'd put with little logos like Napoleon Dynamite, or like you put on a shirt or for campaigns. We started making those. That's its whole story. That could be a whole interesting show. Honestly, I was reflecting on that the other day with a friend, how we got started. But that went really well. So I was able to get a few team members for that. We somehow got payroll set up. I got like ADP payroll, which was totally wrong because it was a single member LLC, but I started like paying myself a W-2 employee. So I was getting like triple taxed. Didn't have a clue. I had like a weekly payroll that would auto deduct from my own bank account and like send it back to my bank account. Like it was a total mess. Started bringing on partners and like trying to do sales at commission base. So I started kind of cutting my teeth on the fundamentals of how do you scale a business. You can hire sales, you can give referral incentives, you have a website, you have a Google Places listing, you get reviews on the Google Places listing, you have a social media presence, you schedule 50 tweets. We went through all of those steps. I can't say any of them really worked well other than simply word of mouth. Our thing was people would order buttons and I would just get them done and drop them off at 2 a.m. that night. We sold to sports teams, we sold to politicians around Atlanta, and that was fun. And I was able to sell that, quote unquote, through a guy on Reddit.